Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back. Yeah. Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com. $3.8 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's back up 0.8%. Woohoo. About to do cartwheels through the front yard here. Bitcoin is 114,300 plus, Ethereum 3,500 plus, XRP is $2.98. It was just over $3 a little earlier this morning. Dabbling here, but looks like the market is starting to wake up, adjust, and turn back around after the sell-off and the market correction, whatever you want to call it, tariffs impact, the new tariff news or whatever. Who knows? You know, what I do know is that we still don't have legislation that has become law for crypto. We still have some things that need to go through the hurdles here. ETFs, the case needs to end. Ripple needs that banking license and a Federal Reserve master account. So there's a few things in front of us, right? So that's why I can be tongue-in-cheek about the market going down the way it has over the last several days. Because for me, there's so much good news we're waiting to unfold here. Any up or down in the market right now doesn't speak to the things that I'm still actually waiting for to be the true catalyst for this space and XRP. Ranging between 287 and 301, again, where were you? Band of brothers, rent it sometime. You could have woke me up last night and said, Brad, it's 287. No, you didn't. But I did get the dip over the weekend. Not by a lot, obviously. I just put a teeny bit of something on it just to prove to myself that, you know, that's the discipline to do what I do, right? So that's what I did. So here we are at 298. I think 297 is what I had captured with price, my last buy. So there it is. What I want to remind people of right now is exactly to the point of what I was saying. We're waiting for legislation. We're waiting for the case to end. We're waiting for the Ripple to get their banking license. We're waiting for ETF approvals. You know the whole drill. Not to mention, let's add this incredible piece of news on top of it. We are waiting for $9 trillion worth of retirement accounts to be unlocked. That's right, your 401ks and your IRAs giving direct access to Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and more. That's what we're waiting on, ladies and gentlemen. And if just 1% of that moves into crypto, that's 90 billion of fresh dollar demand coming into the space, looking for exposure. When we know that we're seeing Rick Edelman has talked about as much as 40% allocation for those looking to be aggressive to get exposure to crypto in their portfolio. So listen, you've been able to do this forever at iTrust. Now, you can do this now with the IRA, as I've done for 6 years now, or you could do it with the PCA account. And the PCA account's incredible because it's not an IRA, so you can move your IRA over, take care of that. You can move your 401, your 453, you can move all of it. All you got to do is click the link below, and you won't believe how easy it is to do. With that being said, or once you get your IRA set up, then you can also do a standard general account, which is the premium custody account, which is a closed loop system. It lets you go in with your cash and crypto, but you can only come out with cash to your checking account. And the reason for that is to help protect each and every one of us. This is the kind of stuff they're always working on at iTrust. What happens if your SIM card swapped? What happens if you clicked on something in a text message or an email like I did back in 2023? And next thing you know, everything you thought was yours belongs to someone else in a digital world. That happened to me. I don't have to think about what that feels like. I know what that feels like, and it is devastating. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. The truth of the matter is that iTrust and the executives and the co-founders, they all know this too. So creating the premium custody account helps remove the attack vector that could happen from your side of the fence. That's how much they care, right? And this is the truth. Honestly, this is the truth. When you see people's actions and a company's actions, how they go, the steps and measures they're trying to take to protect you, even from yourself or myself at times, because we can all make a mistake and click on something we didn't mean to or intend to. Look, this can happen, but all you have to do is click the link below, itrustcapital.com/XRP Army. And listen, every platform I use is because it's got really great security and safety to the platforms. That's why I'm using them. And that helps me get the best night's sleep I've ever had in my life. It is the new sexy is safety and security, right? And and if it's done well, it's rarely boring. And you know what? Boring's the new sexy at my house. Click the link below and get started today. You won't believe it, because this is where we're going.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes?
Oh, it's a resounding yes from the crypto community, Mr. President. Not to mention the fact that we see Ripple actually taking New York over. It's happening around the world, and it's damn sure happening on Wall Street. Oh, yes, it is. This is going down, ladies and gentlemen. I love seeing it. Ripple is everywhere. And then we saw this going into the weekend, right? Or as the weekend hit. So USA Today has over 144 million monthly visitors in connection to over 200 communities. Take a look here. USA Today says XRP is the smartest cryptocurrency to buy with $500 right now. When the rest of the world starts telling all of us to buy XRP, you know we're close to something big. That's how I see this. XRP has found itself at the center of the U.S. financial spotlight following that syndicated opinion piece from USA Today. But we are in the center of the U.S. financial spotlight. No doubt about it. From the White House Crypto Council, right, to Fed now. Yeah. And we're just legislation away from finding out just how smack dab in the middle of it all we are. Meanwhile, Digital Euro Association announces their Digital Euro Conference for 2026 will be March 26 and 26, and discovered the latest developments in CBDCs, stablecoins, commercial bank money, tokens, and the future of money. Super early bird tickets now. So here we have that. And then major Ripple partner reveals bold plans for real USD, ETFs, and global payments. Now, you know that this is SBI. I covered this over the weekend. Major plans are developing here with SBI in Japan, and they have been in play for many, many years now because they've been partnered with Ripple for many, many years, and they have advocated for the use of XRP and the XRP ledger for that length of time as well. So the stage is being set. Now, I highlighted over the weekend that Japan is a critical area economically speaking because you have a lot of U.S. treasuries tied to the Japanese government and economy. Now, with that being said, there's also a lot of talk about the reverse carry trade because Japan's dollar and lending of that dollar, the interest rate sits right around zero and has had trouble for the last 30 or 40 years in that regard. So a slip of that interest rate could cause what everybody's been talking about, the reverse carry trade issue, where the people borrowing the money at 0% interest for nothing and applying that money in other markets for a small margin of profit. If the yen goes up to an interest rate of 1% or higher, it starts to crush the people that have been taking advantage of borrowing the yen and investing in other markets with it at 0%. And then that causes people to unwind their position, known as a reverse carry trade. And then the house of cards starts to come down. And then one central bank is connected to the next. And then it's a cascading effect, right? I mean, that's what we have to be concerned about because that's where we're going. Now, other news in Japan is Japanese real estate giant Open House Group is now accepting XRP for property purchases. So lots happening in Japan and soon to be happening here too. You know, we got the Genius Act already became law, signed into law, but now we have the Clarity Act and the Anti-CBDC and Surveillance Act that needs to go through. We need to see those things become law as well. Meanwhile, a Ripple report says big banks invest over $100 million in blockchain across 345 different deals. Global financial giants, including Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, are aggressively investing in blockchain, backing early-stage ventures and mega deals as digital assets move into mainstream. A joint analysis conducted by Ripple, CB Insights, and the UK Center Blockchain Technologies highlights a surge in backing from major financial institutions. for blockchain-focused startups between 2020 and 2024. Global banks participated in 345 funding transactions, frequently targeting early-stage blockchain startups. Citigroup and Goldman Sachs emerged as frontrunners, each making 18 investments, not far behind where JP Morgan Chase and Japan's Mitsubishi UFG, which took part in 15 rounds apiece. So while we're publicly watching the banks and the national banking associations push back on Ripple and Circle getting a national chartered trust banking license, this is what they've been doing for the last 4 years plus. Isn't that interesting? Right? Oh, they're trying to stop the innovators while they invest in the things for themselves. This is a reminder of exactly where we're going here. And I think when it begins, it will happen in a relatively short window of time. The DTCC announcing that they can tokenize $100 trillion worth of assets unilaterally without anyone's permission. And Ripple recently acquired Hidden Road, which has been approved to settle it all. You can see that evidence right here. New participant in the netting system of government securities. It's Hidden Road, which we know they just got the license in March this year, right? Then we also know from Dan Dunney at the DTCC, they could tokenize 100 trillion unilaterally without anyone else's permission.
Business model is we are the record keeper for quadrillions of dollars of transactions, but for fundamentally assets under record, approximately $100 trillion worth of assets. So unilaterally,
without anyone's permission,
without the need to engage anyone else, we can actually make it possible to tokenize $100 trillion worth of value. No one else can do that efficiently. So we have both a right and a responsibility to do that effectively for the financial markets because it unlocks so much.
Yeah, which brings me back to the article that I just came from, right? Which is the banks, and the report says big banks invested over 100 million in blockchain across 345 deals. Now, we know Citigroup is one of the largest liquidity providers of the world. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, I don't need to say it. Gatekeepers. You think that some of that 100 trillion doesn't belong to the gatekeepers that I just told you about? That Hidden Road has now been approved to settle and clear? Are you with me? Happy Monday morning. It's a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen. Just like when we saw Dom and Phil Kwok go to the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, where he saved his water, held his water to give his prediction on XRP on the floor of the stock exchange because of the symbolism, knowing that all of Wall Street will be tokenized. Remember, Dom gave a $1,000 prediction for XRP by 2030. Now, Dom did business valuations for Wall Street companies while he was working on Wall Street. His job was to do valuations. So I see his prediction of XRP being $1,000 less of a guess and more of a valuation model. How about that one? Yeah, shout out to these gentlemen. And then we're waiting for Ripple to get the Ripple National Trust Bank license and the Federal Reserve Master account. Ripple's taking another step closer to becoming the Fed 2.0, the new digital on-chain economy, because the Federal Reserve is not allowed to participate in that economy. And meanwhile, what do we know? Named as one of the key executives of the Ripple National Trust Bank is Tim Keeney. And Tim Keeney came from Standard Trust, and before that, BNY Mellon, where he controlled and was responsible for 25% of the global institutional assets. How about that? That's who one of the key executives is named as the new key executive for the Ripple National Trust Bank. Yeah, I'd say he's fit for the role, right? Again, make no mistake of this, changing of the guard, which I fat-fingered and spelled wrong, at the Fed isn't just because Jerome Powell won't lower rates. This fight is much bigger because the Fed realizes that legislation is being passed to eliminate the Federal Reserve from making and issuing stable coins or CBDCs directly. What this really means is that the Fed realized that they're going to be shut out of the new digital on-chain economy, leaving one question: who will be the Fed 2.0 to service that new digital on-chain economy? And we know it's not the Fed, and the Fed know it too. That's why I will take Ripple for the Fed 2.0 for 500, Alex. Meanwhile, they're telling us to target, should we break out of this bullish falling wedge and climb towards $4 within 2 days. But we got to break out of it first. That's where we're at. Hitting our head on the ceiling. It's not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's my digital perspectives. Now we're going into the freedom zone, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we're going to hop around today. You're going to get it all today. We're going to talk about everything from that Russian dossier to a digital prison and so much more. I hope you will join us, ladies and gentlemen. We're going inside right now. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Come on in.